Hello, this is Mike McDonald, developer of Revolution Virtual Playspace. This isn't really an official video, it's kind of just fun. I want to go through some of the options and stuff really quick without any scripting or anything, so if I make mistakes, then whatever. Alright, so I've started up Revolution Virtual Playspace through Steam, which is available on now, and it also has Steam trading cards, which are really fun to collect and trade. A little shameless plug there. Alright, so after we're in Revolution Virtual Playspace, I just wanted to explain this isn't an adventure game, this isn't an action game, this is like a tool to play miniature-based board and virtual tabletop games, like if you were to play like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of game, or Warhammer, or Vampire Masquerade, or Pathfinder, or any kind of war game where there's tanks or jets. It supports all of them. So I don't want people coming into it thinking, hey, this is going to be all scripted for me and everything, where it's not. You get to set the rules while you're playing, and with preparation you can make modules that you and your friends can play co-op, or you can play even single player. So the first thing in the list is the map editor, and that's like the huge editor for this system. It's where you create your world. So let's click on that. Alright, so in here I have a bunch of videos on how to make maps and everything in here, so I'm not going to go over a lot in here. I'm just going to show you the basic setup of things as it is now. And please look at the top, there's text up there for a good reason. I have a lot of people asking, I don't know if you can see it in the video, it looks like it's covered, but they're like, oh, I don't know how to size things or rotate things. Well, it's right at the very top. Left mouse button, place object. Hold down E while you're moving an object to enable fine snapping. Right mouse button brings up an object menu when you click it on something. The mouse wheel, while you're holding an object, rotates the object. If you hold down Alt while using the mouse wheel, it scrolls in a different direction. If you use Control, it scrolls in an alternate axis of rotation. WASD to move the camera, space button to go up, C button to go down, you have full control, and to look around you hold down the middle mouse button, which gives you free look. And if for some reason you're on a laptop or something, you can use the F button for free look. Also, if you don't like the music, it's soothing, and it's done by my great composer, but some people just don't like listening to it after hours of building maps or playing around, so you can hit the M button, it'll turn the music off while you're building your map. So in here we've got the snap right here. When you click that, it turns off snapping. So if you're, let's just play some stuff here. Let's play some hexes. I've been enjoying hexes lately. Boom. Alright, so if we're going to place something on there, let's look at the modern stuff. That's a cute little building. So you'll notice when you're moving it around, it kind of like snaps to 4x4 areas and stuff like that. So if we hold down the E button, you'll notice the snapping is much smoother. It's smaller increments, so you can do finer adjustments. Or you can disable snapping right here. Bam. And you'll notice now it's perfectly freely placeable. You can move it wherever you want, no snapping. So you can do some pretty intricate things like that. So we'll turn the snap back on. We'll place our building. And now the next little checkbox down here is lighting. It's kind of behind my name on the feed here, but you'll see it when you load the game up. Alright, so when we turn the lighting off, it's completely dark. And that's for if you want to place lighting to make it like more, I guess, environmentally scary or nighttime. There's the mistake I was talking about. There'll probably be a few more. So we can choose the lighting, and you can see we can place it. We can make things look all cool, yay. Oh, that's a weird looking light. Casting some weird shadows there. Now, when you're running it on lower settings, the lighting won't be so intricate, and the shadows won't be so hard. I can do different color lighting. So that's what that light checkbox is for, so you can preview how your lighting is going to look. And then when you right-click an object that's already on the map, it brings up this little menu over here. Now this is where, if it was a character, you can add these things to anything, but you can add the character sheet, a conversation, a quest, a store, a loot table for when it drops, and battle rules to tell people how characters act when you're playing, like how they act in battle. And then of course there's your adjustments down here. So the positional adjustments, this is how much you want to move it. So we'll put this to 4, which is 1 square in game, and we'll move it up. So there, it goes up. We can keep moving it up, we can move back down, we can move it sideways, forward, everything. And then if we want to change the rotation of it, we would just change the amount here to degrees. Like down here, common values, 45, 90, 180, 360. So we'll put it to 45 degrees, and we'll click to rotate here. Boom. There we go. So we can have full rotational control after it's placed. And then there's a mini map on the side, kind of to show you an overview of what you're building. Now, the area to build your map is just huge. Now, I would suggest building smaller maps with more decoration that will load well for everybody, rather than building the biggest map you can and having it chug on lower end machines. And lighting is important too. When you're placing lights on some lower end machines, that lighting can actually really bog down the system. I'm not saying that you have to cater to the lowest common, old ancient computer, but it's nice to keep them midway, and that way everybody has a chance to play your map. We've got underneath my little dragon here, there's an exit key, a save, load, and a clear. Just a warning, there's no confirmation when you click clear. It's just going to clear your map, like so. I will be adding a confirmation in there soon. It's a big request, and I will get to it. Now you can build terrain. Again, underneath my name here in the video, there's a slider to change the kind of terrain. You can choose the different kinds of ground. And you can see with the little slider here, now that I've moved it up, you can change what kind of land is going to be placed, like what size, large, ramps, corners, stuff like that. So you can build vertically as well, and it makes some pretty intricate maps. With the nature, again, trees, mushrooms, rocks, mining, flowers, stalactites, stalagmites, can't talk now, stalagmites, stuff like that, so nature stuff. And then in tiles, you've got the dungeon tiles, which I absolutely love using. You can just slap them down and build a dungeon with them. Now again, these things are huge. When you put a miniature in them, you'll see just how much play space you actually have. So even though this may seem like a small room to you, you stick a miniature in there. Let's get us a zombie. You can see there's so much space to play in here. Like an average movement for a miniature, I'm guessing it's probably about 6, depending on what rule set you're using. Again, you make up your own rules. There's nothing enforced in here. So it's a huge room. So if you wanted to make it like a storage room or something, you would not place 4 tiles to make a storage room. You would just go ahead and find the little tile. That's a modern tiles. Where's my tiles? There we go. Here we go. You place something like this and put a door on it, and that would be like a storage room. You don't want to go nuts. The larger the map and you put less stuff in it, it looks cheap and empty and just too big. So aside from the tiles, we've got the tiles modern, which is all like cement and roads and wood and bricks and steel and other stuff. Of course, there's also secret doors and regular doors, so when you right click, they open in the Playspace. Got the hexes, which I was playing with earlier. I love hexes. I don't know why. The advanced interiors let you build advanced buildings. Now, it's called advanced for a reason, because a lot of people might not be able to piece everything together and make it look great. I've got videos showing how it's used, and I will be making more, but you can build some pretty intricate stuff with that. I'd suggest using either a pre-built building, which has an interior, or use the tiles. Like under tiles, some of them are actually sized to be interiors. Like this one here, you can see it's a lot smaller than the big tiles. And we'll be making more of the interior tiles as well. Structures, here you've got like signs and stuff to put on your buildings, little buildings, add-ons, bridges, a whole bunch of buildings down here that have interiors, so you can walk into them in first-person mode. It's awesome. Some roofs you can plop on. The interior, just decorations, potions, windows, stuff like that. Again, we'll have more stuff coming for that as well. Furnishings, we got furniture, chests, looks like stoves, beds, tables, torture devices, as per requested. Decorations, you got your jugs, your money, or rather containers and money, pictures, different things to decorate things with, cobwebs, statues, gems. Under miscellaneous, there's a bunch of stuff in there too, like flags, gravestones, more decorations, but kind of off in their own category. Like there's chains and ropes and traps. It's a giant saw trap. There we go, we'll stick it there. And again, you can adjust it to however you want. Modern, so we've got buildings and street signs and other modern things, cars, fire hydrants, post office stuff, signage, lighting. You can build an entire modern world in here, no issue. And we'll be adding more like normal. Space, we've got some planets and we've got some space buildings. We do have more space assets on the way, but how much do you need? I mean, it's space. Really, you just get some spaceships and some stars and planets and go fight over the planets. But we'll add more because I like the space set. Lights, again, you can add your lighting. Be sparing on the lighting and try not to like overlap a bunch of lights. Like say you want a room that's well lit. Don't place 4 lights in it. Just find a nice place for a light or 2, and that'll keep it running great on some lower end machines. I know that my composer's got a laptop that we lovingly call the crap top, and if it doesn't run on that, then we make changes. That way we know it'll run on some of the older machines. Particles, I haven't added much here yet. I'll be getting more into that. I've got hundreds and hundreds of particles to add. Generally, again, particles can cause lag on lower end machines, but they run great otherwise. Here we got floating green stuff. I'll put it right on there. There we go. It's a magical trap. It's got poison on it. So you could do stuff like that here. And in the future, in the Playspace area, the DM will have access. I think I do now, but it'll be strictly DM access to a large amount of different particle effects that they can play as one-shots, where they click on the ground and you see this giant healing wave come up, just to make it more interesting. Minis, we got all of the core set minis here. Heroes, NPCs, monsters, there's just hundreds of them. Different numbers and letters and start area things for building your maps. Now the start here, or start area thing, you only want one in the map, and you just place it where you want all the characters to start. So now that I've placed that, if I was to save and load this map into the Playspace, all of the characters that are in the game, all the players, will be teleported to that start area right near it, so that they can put themselves into first person mode, or however the DM wants them to play, or GM. And it makes it so they can't just go looking through the entire map. And when you're walking around like it's a first person shooter, it makes it more exciting because you can't see what's coming up, and it really adds to the game. But that start area is the important part. If you want people to start in a certain spot, just plop one of those down. If for some reason you have multiple start areas, the last one that it finds while it's loading your map, that's where everyone will start. Now, if you're doing like a skirmish map or something where you have a bunch of people fighting over locations or objectives, inside the Playspace area, there's an objectives button where you can place like planets or crystals or flags and have people start in those spots. But it's not going to automatically teleport them there. But usually when you're playing a strategy version of a game in here, you don't have to hide everything that's coming up. And then there's the playset minis, which is like the robots for the Rampart playset. So yeah, these cool looking robots. I just added these giant robots. I absolutely love them. I'm gonna make some more of them. Let's get a closer view just for fun. Love it. Alright, so then of course we've got the Rust playset, which is vehicles, combat vehicles. Then we've got the Omega playset, starships, and then the conflict playset, which is military. There's planes, boats, submarines, that's cool stuff, helicopters. And then there's the demigod playset where it's superheroes, supervillains, or modern. So modern day cop here. So we'll be adding more miniatures all the time, and it's important that we keep our playsets free to people who own the game, and that's what we're doing. You get 6 as it stands right now, and we'll be adding more. There'll be no extra cost. We're not going to DLC them and milk your wallets dry. We're not here to do that. We're here to have fun and get people playing again. So that's pretty much it for this part of the editor. It's 15 minutes of the video or so, so maybe we'll move on. Didn't mean to go over it so in depth. Alright, so the miniature editor here is you select an avatar or whatever. The name, the hit points, the mana. Ooh, nice voice crack. There we go, clear my throat. Alright, so the hit points and the mana, when the miniatures are in the Playspace, they'll have green and blue rings around them, at least for the core set. And when you change how much current hit points they have versus their maximum, so say he's at half-life, so you have 50 current and 100 total, that'll actually show the little green line halfway down, so you can get a quick view of the status or health status of that character. So you don't need to fill in all this information. It can get pretty insane. But if your rule set requires special names for things, like here there's strength, well, if you don't use strength, if you use power, we can just go in there. And now it's called power. So when you load this miniature character sheet, it's going to say power there instead of strength. And you can do that for any rule set you want. You do that for the armor, all the saves, pretty much everything. Also, the vision area here, you can change the name of it, but the distance you put in here, say 24, that means they can see 24 feet away, or meters, or however measurements you want to use. And when you're in game and use the view the site through a miniature, that's how far away you'll be able to see using the miniature vision light. Kind of hard to explain here, but you can also put your movement speed, the kind of attacks, how far their attacks can reach, any inventory they've got, anything they've got equipped. If you want to make notes about this character, like what's rule set they're made for and stuff like that, that's cool. You can also set a voice for it. So you click here, voice sets. We're going to make this guy sound like male caster. So what that does is when you click on the miniature in the Playspace, there's a random chance it'll play a line from that voice set, just to keep it interesting. So we can listen to it now.
It's about time I put these new spells to good use. My spell books are ready. I think I'll take this time to study.
So they've got a few lines that they can say, usually 4 or so, and yeah, they just pop up in-game when you're clicking and gives the game more flavor. So basically, you just make your miniature here. If you want people to make armies for skirmishes, you can set the unit cost. There's just so many options. If you want to roll your character yourself using your rules, we've got the dice roller in here for you to do it right while you're in the game or in the editor. And that pretty much concludes this. You just save it, and you can add it to the miniature in the map maker or map editor, or you can load it during play in the Playspace. So now I'll move on to the conversation editor. Now this is for basic conversations. We're not talking super long conversations and endless quest conversations and everything. This is more of a board game-esque kind of game. So the main conversation, you'd have something in here, like in the example on the left, are you able to fight a minotaur? And then in the conversation choice 1, you can put, no. And then underneath no, you could put the NPC says sigh and mutters under his breath, not another group of kids looking for gold. So you can see you can extend these little conversations and stuff like that over multiple NPCs and make an entire story if you want. Very straightforward. You save and then load it onto the miniature in the map editor. Next is the item editor. Here we would make items that can drop or be sold in the game. So you just pick an icon, give it a name, type of thing. We call it a spear, so we'd call it a weapon. We can give it some damage, how much damage it does, how much gold it will sell for in the store. Rarity, you can even make up your own field names and add information, so it supports any rule set. And then in the description here, whatever you type will show up in the stores in the game. So if someone wants to buy this spear, whatever you write here is what they'll see, describing that spear to them. And those you just save and add on to, you can put them inside stores, you can put them inside loot drops and stuff like that, which we'll get to soon. So that's where you make all your items. And the quest editor, you just gave the quest a name. You can just set quest level, whether it's repeatable. There's a bunch of extra information in here. Quest rewards of gold or experience if you want. Custom fields again, so you can customize whatever you need. You just put some starting information in here to start the quest. It acts pretty much like a conversation, but you can put any info in there you want. Again, right on the left side here, there's an explanation, or I guess a sample. So the quest starts, hey, can you kill 10 rats for me? The journal entry, what you do is you can put in here, kill 10 rats, and then if they want to make note of it, then they can in their character sheet. Quest completed text, oh, thanks for killing the rats. They ate my second child last week. You know, it's horrible, but it completes the quest and lets them know, hey, you've earned your gold, you've earned your experience. And if you want to leave some developer notes about your quest, tell other people who download it what the quest is about, or if it's part of a chain, it's all doable here. Now, we do have a file sharing system on the website where you can share all your miniatures, quests, maps, everything. Until we get Steam Workshop put in, we're hoping to do that after we do the full release in the future, but we still have a lot of stuff to add. That's why we're in early access now. So let's go down to Store Editor. Now here's where you can take 5 items that you've made and load them into these little slots. Name your store, make some notes for yourself if you want, or someone else who's downloading it. And what'll happen is in the game, in the Playspace, when they click on the miniature who has this store listed on them, they'll see 5 different items with a little picture, a little description, and how much money it's going to cost them to purchase the item. So you make stores all throughout the game. You can do like starting equipment stores where they're in town. They click on a miniature, it's an NPC, and it shows them this is what you can purchase. It's very cool. So next is Battle Rule Editor. Now this is a cool part that allows you to make co-op games where you can make an adventure, and by the rules you put in here, they're not actually rules for your game. What they do is they tell somebody how that miniature is going to act in battle. So say we put a rat in the game and we load it with our rat battle rules. Well, in attack, let's see if I've got one here that's for a rat already. I think I do. Here we go, giant rat for our onslaught rule set, which is a custom rule set we've made. And here we go. So our giant rat, it's for our onslaught rule set. We didn't use the custom fields, but it tells you when you click on the miniature in the Playspace, it says how they act when they attack. So this thing gets aggressive within 10 spaces of a hero, and it attacks the nearest hero. And then there's a special 10% chance of causing disease on hit, plus 2 damage. So if our heroes get within 10 spaces of this miniature, we know that this miniature should move towards that hero and attacks the nearest hero it can find. And then if it does hit them, then there's a chance, a 10% chance it will cause disease. So you roll a 10-sided dice. If you roll a 10, it causes disease, or a 1, however you want to play it. I don't remember how I set up the rules. It's been a while. We've been working on a second rule set now for pen and paper games. And also defensive tactics. So say you're fighting a thing and it gets down to less than a quarter hit points. Well, we know that this thing is going to flee at 2 speed. So it can run away every turn, moving 2 spaces or 2 tiles or however you want every turn to try to get away, which makes you chase it. And then if there's other miniatures nearby, it can run you into a trap. It's pretty cool. And then neutral tactics, how it acts when it's just in game. So say it's supposed to be wandering. You can put it in here. It wanders full speed, which can be as many spaces as you set in your character sheet. And then whoever's controlling the monsters can move them. So you can either have a DM do that, or the players playing the game can actually move the monsters and fight against them, just like you would in a lot of popular board games right now, using certain rule sets. I've played a few of them and absolutely love them, and the thought of playing them online with my friends just drove me to build this kind of this program. So, and it also allows for single player games. So if you've got an adventure where there's quests and conversations and these rules telling them how to use the minis and how they're going to fight, you could come in by yourself, load up a module, and just go ahead and start playing. You may die, you may complete it, you may get cool loot. It allows for some fun single player play, which a lot of these kind of tactical games don't really have. And again, it goes back to some really cool board games I've been playing lately. Now the loot drop editor here, this is where when a miniature dies, it doesn't actually have to die in the play space. It's going to show you the loot if you click on the loot tab. But what this does is it takes a minimum amount of gold and a maximum amount of gold. So say the minimum it can drop is 2, the maximum is 20. When that miniature is loaded into the game, it's going to randomly choose between 2 and 20 for how much gold it's going to drop when it dies. And then all of these things here, you can add 10 items. So you can either have it 10% chance of each one of those items, so it'll guarantee drop 1, or you can fill all of these with the same item, and then it'll have a 100% chance of dropping that item, or you can add something to loot item 1, loot item 3, loot item 5. That's only 3 things, but that's 33% chance that it will drop something, and 66% chance it won't. And then it will choose if it drop something, it'll be one of those 3 items. So you can do some pretty advanced loot dropping here. And what this does is when you're playing an adventure with your friends, or you're playing a single adventure by yourself or a module, it just mixes stuff up. So sometimes when you get to a treasure chest and you look at its loot, when you're opening it, excuse me there, it can drop items, it can drop gold, it changes every time. So it just makes things more replayable. All right, so the GM rules editor, say you're making up your own rules while you're playing, like when you roll a 1 when you're attacking, it's an automatic miss, or if you roll a 20 on a 20-sided dice when you're attacking, it's an automatic critical hit that gets double damage. So if you want to keep everybody aware of your custom rules, or if you're making your own game and it's just got a tiny little rule set, you can go ahead, fill it in here, save it, and you can load it while you're playing, and everybody else will see those rules. You can even edit them and resave them while you're playing in the play space. Now, this area isn't designed to store a complete pen and paper rule set. And once you're in the play space, we have a way where you can link to either PDFs or images or whatever you want to do in the play space, and everyone has access to those links, and they can view them at any time using their default browser. So anything you can host on the web or put up, like pictures, flash games, anything, you can use and link from in here. And that'll allow you to use any rule set, and you can link to anything you want, keeping everybody on the same page with rules or maps or anything. So this is just for the custom stuff. All right, so now we're going to jump into the play space here, just quickly. Create a little game. And I've already port forwarded, but I'm not going to let anybody join. I port forwarded 25002 just for fun, and 8 players doesn't matter. I'm not going to bother the password. So when you start a game, you sit here and you wait. Once your friends join, then you start the game. But I'm not letting anybody join, so we're just going to go ahead, start the countdown. And here we are, the play space. Now, the only button I don't think you can see behind my little logo on the video here is the quit button. That just gets us out of the game. So first things first, the GM's going to have this GMing button up here. Now, not everyone's going to see that, just the guy hosting, or person hosting, I should say. You can load maps, which is what you would do. Not everybody has to have the map, because when you load it, it actually sends the information to everybody. It doesn't send the map, though, so you can keep your map secret if you like. But let's load this hex map I made the other day, because it's awesome. And there we go. Cute little hex map. It's got some trees. And so also in this GM page, we can change how miniatures move, like this hex movement system here. So because we're not using squares, let me place a miniature here. Back to the old zombie. Okay, so when we move him by clicking and holding down and moving, you'll see he snaps as if he was using square tiles. So if we want complete free movement, or we're using hex tiles, we just click the hex. And now whenever miniatures are moved, they'll just stay right where you left them, which makes all play styles again and all rule sets completely available for play. The lighting as well in here, you can turn the lights off completely and then just work on the lighting in the system. You can play with the weather, rain, snow, fog. It's always fun to mess with the weather. And time of day. So right now it's sunny. We can go to another kind of sunny, a different kind of sunny. We can go to stormy, starry. It actually changes the sky and uses in-game lighting. Cloudy just kind of cuts down and stuff. And there's a lot of different ones, and we're going to add more. I know the interface here looks pretty clunky with all these little checkboxes and stuff, but because I'm still in the development of it, I'm just getting it in and getting it working, and then before we release the full version, I'll go in and clean everything up. So please don't judge this based on the menus. They're clunky and unrefined. So now we have space in case we're doing a space map. We go back to sunny here. And then at the top, you have some GM notes. Now these aren't saved. It's just for you to take notes while you're playing and if you need to, like a scratch pad. So that's what the host or GM has access to, other than everything else. That everybody else will see, the players. But we're going to lock down some of these things, like the particles and stuff. We're going to lock that down to GM only. Editing, miniatures, character sheets and everything. Let's select him. Let's call him Zombie. So editing and miniatures sheets and everything is doable by anybody on the server, but that will be locked down to whoever owns the mini later. We just want to get everything working, and because it's 100% playable now, that's why we're on early access, but we still have a lot to do. So now the rest of the menu system here, we have the randomizer, which is tons of fun because you can either load or save your randomized lists. So I'm going to load one. And it's important when you are saving and loading stuff that you pick your campaign folder. You can make your own with the zip file that we've included. Has all the folders built. But when you're saving stuff, you need to save it in the right folder, in the right campaign, or it won't load properly. So we're going to load some randomizer things here, find gold. And there we go. So now, if I click randomize, down here in chat, it's going to say you found 6 gold on the ground. Now you can randomize anything. Monsters, wandering stuff, effects from traps, and you can save and load and share it on our website or share it with your friends or whatever in the future in the workshop. It's great for just tossing things around, and even if you put in an informational mini, like one of these token minis, and well, they have a smaller bottom, or they will have a smaller bottom, but you can put those in and say you need to load this randomizer and click randomize, and then when you stand on that tile, or wherever you've placed that, you can do it in the map editor as well. It looks much cleaner than putting it in here. And it will tell you to use the randomizer and click that, and it could say, well, if the randomizer says, you know, the floor is on fire, then boom, that tile's on fire. Then you can add, you know, fire particles or whatever. Bam. I like saying bam for some reason today. So there we go. We got some fire on there. And that's what the randomizer does. Just keeps everything random. Now the rules, this is where you see your GM rules. Everybody has access to view it, but only the host can edit it. So you can save, load, and edit while you're playing. It's great for changing the rules on the fly. Here's the links area. Here you can change what the link is to. So say you're linking to a YouTube video that explains some rules. You could just, no, I didn't call it right. T. There we go, YouTube. And then you would just copy and paste or type in a link online somewhere in here, and then everyone else will see it, and they just click view. And it will open in the person's default browser. And you can make as many links as you want like that. You can save and load the link lists. So if you want to have all of your rules in PDF form for like fighters and wizards and stuff like that, you can just upload them somewhere, put the links in here, and load it while you're playing. And then players, if he's playing a wizard, can click view, and they'll see the little PDF pop up. Or if you want them to play a flash mini game, and if they don't get a good enough score, they die, or whatever. You have full options with this GM links thing. And on to settings. So in settings, here we could change the graphical quality at the bottom. If you're having trouble running a certain map because there's like a billion lights on it or something, you can just change the quality here by clicking minus to make it run faster, or plus to make the graphics better. You just click them a few times. I think there's like 5 or 6 settings, but you can see the changes in here. Now, the different movement options here, like when we move the camera in free fly mode, we can go literally anywhere, and moving around is pretty easy to do. But we can always change to first person. You'll notice I drop to the ground, and I'm pretty much the same height as the zombie, but now I have to move around like it was a first person shooter game, which is really cool because it limits what you can see. And we can jump around. Oh, I didn't make the jump. So here you can stay by your heroes, or just follow the action in this mode, and the GM will usually tell you if they want you in first person mode or not. The other mode you got here, or you just uncheck that to go back to free mode where you can float, but there's a strategy view where you click that and it will automatically keep you at a set height no matter what. So you can look down and move around and you're always at a set height. And then 27 is the default, but you can always put that to whatever you want. So we'll put it to 40 and hit enter, and there we go. Now I'm constantly at 40 units above the map. And if everybody's playing at the same height, they'll have the same access and same view to everything. Just makes it easy to float around and see stuff. And if you don't like nameplates, let's switch back here to free floating. The nameplate on the zombie tells me that it's a zombie or whatever the name is, which you can edit in the character sheet. I can just turn those off. If you don't want to see them or you want to take a cool screenshot, you can turn them off and on whenever you want. The help button gives you some of the keys. It's not complete, it's a little outdated, but it will get updated. The initiative up here is you can add the creatures in the battle to the initiative, and that tells you whose turn it is. So if I add this zombie, okay, give it initiative here. There we go. So now our zombie had its initiative roll that came in first place, and you just add them as your initiative rolls apply. So you can go down here and roll whatever dice you want. It's not locked into your rules. And then we can put if it's its current turn, if it's delaying its turn. You can go down the list as whose turn it is. You have full control because there are so many different initiative methods. We made sure you had more control, and it was a lot less automated, because I know a lot of places automated 2 rule sets. And if you're across the map, you can click the little eyeball and it'll take you right to that mini. Now, I know sometimes when you load a map and you have a really intricate name on the mini using weird characters, sometimes when you click the little eyeball, it doesn't go direct to that character. That's just a limitation we're trying to overcome right now, so don't worry. If it's not coming up viewing the mini, just go in and edit the name of the character, and it'll start going to the character again. Just a minor bug. And then after everyone's taken his turn, you just click next turn, and you start going through the initiative list again. Again, using any rule set. You can clear it, and there we go. Oh, you can also just go ahead and type what turn you're on if you want to clear everything or jump through turns. Now the mini sheet, when you select a miniature, it shows all of the information here, like the mana and hit points. Let's do hit points again. There's 20 hit points out of 50. You'll notice right away this bar changes, showing you how many hit points you have. And let's do 20 mana out of, let's see, 25. There you go. So just a bit of mana used, and that's just a quick on the view kind of thing you can do with the miniature. And again, that little red pointy thing here shows you which way the miniature is facing. You can just scroll to change it. Now, because these miniatures for the core playset are 2.5D, which means 3D with 2D monsters, changing that direction shows you which way they're facing, because they're set to face wherever you are to make it easier to play. The 3D miniatures, you don't need to worry about that with the other playsets and stuff. I think you do with the demigods, but that's also because they're 2.5D. But it saves on resources and allows you to have a lot of miniatures out for large battles without worrying about bogging down your computer with tons of models. So we can load the character sheets we made earlier if we didn't already load them in the map editor. The stats page is where we are now. The equipment page, you can fill that in. stash, your inventory and skills and spells, notes about the character, statuses like, oh, my zombie's blinded, and let's see, he's burrowed underground. So now this character, when somebody looks at the miniature, he just brings up the status, and you can see the icons right above it saying, oh, well, he's, and then look over here, burrowed. So he's underground, and he's blinded. So he won't see things go by. And you can put as many or as few of those up as you like, and everyone can see them. Also, there's the sight system. So right now, this zombie is facing this way. If I get into its vision, you can see my movable eye. Ooh, floating eyeballs that explode. Thanks, Rascal Nag. That's just for you. So what you can do is you can use this miniature to see exactly what this miniature is looking at based on what it's facing. So if you're playing a game that requires a line of sight, you can actually see the line of sight of that miniature. And if you're using sensing or line of sight by a distance of vision, when the lights are out, let's see here, go back to the maps, we'll turn the lights out, and you'll see now with this vision light on the character sheet, there's this, where's the vision here? Oh, I see, I cleared it out. Yeah, but when you load it, it'll say vision in one of these, and you can put in the amount of vision, and that's the distance that this light will light up. So you can actually see how far or how you can sense how far this character can sense things. So depending on your rule set again. Let's put the light back on. All right, and that's the whole mini sheet there. Back to the stats. And then the conversation. Now, if we added a conversation to this miniature in the map editor, the conversation would be loaded in here. Also, any quests would be loaded in here. Battle rules, we click on it, it would tell us how this creature is supposed to fight. The store, it would load 5 items if there are 5 items in the store, or 1 or 2, whatever, and show us how much it costs to buy it. And then the loot. If we had loot added to this in the map editor, it would show how much gold it dropped, an icon of the loot it dropped, and then any information if it dropped anything. And of course, you can fill this out yourself while you're playing. And so that takes care of that side of the buttons. Now at the bottom here, we have the minis. And you'll notice in the middle of the screen, this little reticle or whatever comes up, and it shows you where the mini is going to be placed. So you just go and you click it, and boom, we get another mini. Same thing with the minis for the play sets. You just find somewhere, boom, we've got a tank. And you can change the size of these minis whenever you want. When clicking on them, it's plus and minus. When you're holding them, you hit X to delete them. That's all in the help area there. Tokens, again, lighting and different little map notations, particles, you can put down fires and stuff. And the big thing, objectives. Now, say we wanted people to fight over a part of the map or multiple parts of the map. So I would go up here and I would place either a crystal or a world or a flag, and there'll be more objectives added. So here, let's add this flag. All right. So now this flag is an objective, and you can use the miniatures to fight over ownership. And with this flag, again, we have all the access to miniatures, our character sheets, conversations, quests, anything. So you can put anything on here. You can use the hit points as, how much, I guess it's taken over. You can put the owner of it in the information here. You can just go crazy and have huge conquest battles if you want, where everybody has their own flags on the map and you just take it over. And the space, take over planets with spaceships for transporting stuff. It's unlimited. And then with the dice, over here we have the amount of dice you want to roll. Any modifiers, like if you're rolling a 6-sided dice and you want +2 added to it, you just type that in here. So do +2. I'm going to roll 1, so you can either type it in or use the little plus/minus buttons, and then click the dice, and it shows you down here what it's rolled. Now we've had some requests to show each individual dice roll when more amounts of dice are rolled. I'm going to see if I can add that in. It shouldn't be too hard in a future update. Also, if you just want to do really basic stuff, where say I'm going to attack somebody and I can attack for 6. So what I would do is I would just type 6 in the amount, get rid of this modifier, and use the skulls and shields dice. So I'd roll that, and it says skulls 4, shields 2. So I can say, oh, I can hit you for 6, but I only got 4 skulls, so I hit you for 4 damage. You can use that for, you know, success at things as well. So say they want to jump over a certain area on the map from here to down there and see if they don't break their legs. Again, you can use any skills or anything you've set up, or you can use just the skulls and dice. So I'll just leave it at 1. If I roll a skull, I break my legs. If I roll a shield, I make the jump successfully. I rolled a skull, so I jumped down here, and I broke my legs. You can just do anything like that, or you can use the randomizer. Broke your left leg, broke your right leg, broke a toe, broke your neck, you're dead. The randomizer, right here, randomized. Oh, when I broke my leg, I looked down and I found 3 gold on the ground. So you could do anything with that as well. And well, that concludes this video. It's 45 minutes long already, but I'm hoping that I gave you a good idea of how all the little editors can work together, and you know, how nice little maps can look, and you can share them on our website. And like I said, hopefully the workshop in Steam in the near future. But thanks for watching this unofficial official video. I hope it was fun, and I'll see you in the next video.